Hello and welcome to Don's FSD Challenge. I'm Don Burke and FSD is Tesla's full self-driving capability. In this video, we're going to grade a run I made up to Baltimore and back to test an interesting use case of the construction cone visualizations and actions that was recently added. A couple of points I'd like to make about the new visualization capabilities. First, the car will always try to change lanes, even when the cones are stuffed off to the side while construction is on pause. And secondly, I found this interesting case, which we'll see here in a minute, which has the car ping-ponging between lanes because it's got two competing rules going. Let's take a look at each before we dive into the rest of the run. The ping-ponging back and forth between the fast lane and the construction cones. This ad hoc run took us north from Washington, D.C., up the Baltimore-Washington Parkway, across 895 to get underneath the Patapsco River. We then flipped back around to come down 95 and around the top of the Beltway and back to the Springfield Supercharger. All in all, this was about 109 miles. And really impressively, full self-driving was active and engaged for at least 107 miles of that route, probably actually closer to 108. And the longest in FSD without any breakout was from Washington, D.C. up to the toll booth on 895. Before we jump into the individual criteria and show some of the specific areas where FSD struggled on this route, I wanted to start by just highlighting how well it did do, driving well over 107 of the 109 miles on full self-driving mode. Particularly the route back along I-95, the car did really well, making many seamless lane changes to adjust to traffic conditions, dealing with a big stop and go traffic jam along near 270, and just overall did remarkably well. With that said, lane change management is still a problem and will probably be for a while because it's likely integrated with the routing and navigation features, but this is the biggest limitation at this time. What we see a lot of, or what I see a lot of, is the car getting into another lane way earlier than it needs to. The indicators on the binnacles say that it's making that change for routing reasons, but the routing reason may be more than a mile away, sometimes even further. And by getting in that lane so early, you actually end up impeding other traffic. Toll booths, no matter where I use them, remain a challenge. At least on this run, it did get through one of the two toll booths on Navigate on Autopilot, which was interesting. But even there, it was not very elegant and really struggled with lanes, and it never really got to the right lane. I really want to see Tesla give us the ability to tell it which toll booths we have transponders for, so that the car can integrate that into its decision-making process as to which lanes will be in. Finally, though, is the reason I'm going to ended up giving this run a low grade is because just after the I-95 toll booth, when the cars were merging back down to a fewer number of lanes, I had to brake out, otherwise I was about to hit another car. It's unclear right now, after looking back at the tape, whether it really would have hit the other car, because I see right at the last instance that it did turn red in the binnacle, but I was not prepared at that point to risk it further, and I had to do an emergency breakout. And for that reason, I ended up giving the overall grade, the overall run, a low grade, because we can't have the car getting you in an accident, and so that just drives the whole thing. Otherwise, I might have given it something more like a C or C minus for its overall work. In this next segment, we'll look at some measures of effectiveness of the full self-driving package. These are items I've previously identified as being challenging points for full self-driving. We won't look at the 23 challenges of the official run, since this is, of course, an ad hoc run. A couple quick definitions before we go on. An intervention is any scenario where I have to cancel an action that full self-driving decided to take, but by intervening, I still don't break out of full self-driving. I'm just saying, don't do this action now. A breakout is where I have to take control of the car and revert back to manual driving. All right, let's dive in. The first four measures fall under the category of situational awareness and intelligent behavior. We've already seen some of these earlier, but we'll show you a couple more here. Lane choice management is just the whole action of deciding what lane to be in when. And in this version, we still fall in the camp of all it knows is what it has right in front of it, and it makes no broader judgments as to whether it's the appropriate lane to be in. Speed management is going beyond just the set it at a specific number. At the moment, it really can't do anything other than that unless it can adjust to other cars around it. Follow distance management is dynamic. Don't have some very good examples in this round. And routing are just all the issues related to where to go and how to get there, and what and how to take the exits. Let's take a look at a few examples. All right, we're coming up to a section where the road diverts away from the normal road, and in the past the car has slowed way down. Let's see what it does today. Yep, so here we go, we're going, it doesn't know what to do, so it's set the speed to 35. Everyone else, of course, is just moving through. I'm just going to use the accelerator to move on. Well, I hope you enjoyed that retrospective of this ad hoc run up to Baltimore and back from DC. As we look over the whole run, again, we had this impressive distance on full self-driving mode of 107 out of 109 miles. We did have 12 interventions and 7 breakouts from an FSD mode on this run. That contributes to the overall grade at the end here. We didn't have any phantom brakings. We did have that one near crash, which I described at the beginning, and that is the overarching driver of the grade today. I did grade the overall other measures as a D. There are a lot of good things about the run today, which were certainly, B's or maybe even A's in a few cases. But overall, I think just the the immaturity of the lane choice management and the continued failures of lane changes drive that number down. All right, so in the end, I'm going to give this a grade of D for this run. And once again, I just want to reiterate that overall, I love Navigate on Autopilot. I love Autopilot, and I use it extensively all the time. These runs are designed to challenge the system and to find failure modes. So these grades are not unexpected at this stage of development. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing your comments in the comment section below. Thanks.